You've reached Pace Bunnies, where we help you set your next PR.
Hi, yes, I'm running my first ever marathon with you guys.
Awesome, good for you.
Yeah, I'm actually looking to register for a Pace Bunny to run with me at a 6 minute per kilometer pace. That's going to get me over the line at a little bit over 4 hours and 10 minutes.
We don't book individual paces for people, but we do have listed pace times that our bunnies will be running on the Facebook page.
Yeah, I took a look at those and none of those are going to work for me.
Don't worry, we've seen this before. Have you ever thought about Garmin Pace Pro?
No.
Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be.
Hi everybody, my name is Matt, and yes, this is What Matters to Matt, and yes, today I did want to talk about Garmin Pace Pro. I have it here on my Garmin 245 Music. I'm loving this watch so far. Now, Garmin Pace Pro has actually been out for a while. I think it was first released on the Garmin 6, but through firmware updates, through new releases, they've actually released that out to so many more devices, including this one. And so I plan on using that for my first ever marathon, having never run a marathon before. I've never actually run a race before, so I've got that coming up in just a little bit over 2 weeks now, and it's making me a little bit nervous. And some of the things that I want to sort of get out of the way when I'm actually doing the race are thinking too much, because mentally, if anybody's ever run a race before, even if you've been on a long run, you know that there is a very big mental component to this as well. So whatever you can do, whenever you can take and use technology to help you kind of get past some of those things, have you not thinking about things quite so much, to me, that's a big benefit, and I think that's where Garmin Pace Pro comes into play. To be honest, I'd had the Pace Pro out a couple of different times now, and the first time I had it out, it wasn't working properly, and I think some of that was user error, but when I went online, there are a few people who had similar issues, so I just want you to keep that in mind, that you don't want to try this new on race day. You do want to try this in advance, and give it a couple of times, because it did take 2 or 3 times before it seemed to work. Seems to be working well now. But also something to keep in mind, and I'll probably mention this again if I forget that I've already mentioned it, but when you do set up Garmin Pace Pro and you have that face on your watch, it's just an additional face. So anything else that you've set up, anything that you're comfortable with in terms of how you set up your pacing, your rolling pacing, your times, splits, all that stuff, you can scroll through to those. So if Pace Pro is not working well, you can set yourself up with a backup that you're a little bit more familiar with if on race day you just want that extra comfort blanket in case the Pace Pro doesn't work for you. Okay, so I think the easiest thing for us to do now is just to jump right into the Garmin Connect app, because that's where you're going to be setting up one of these Pace Pro plans. It's the easiest way I find. Anyways, if we jump into the app on your phone, you will see on your first screen here, if you click down on the bottom right hand corner, you've got the 3 dots in the more. Click there. Once you're into this more screen, one of the options is training towards the top there. If you click on training, and then one of these options within training is the Pace Pro strategies. If we click on that, next thing you're going to see any Pace Pro strategies that you put in play before. Now I've got a number of them here. It's just me playing around with different Pace Pro strategies on my phone, but you can click on the bottom and click on Create Pace Pro Strategy. Now from here, you can select a course or select a race distance. Now, one of the cool things about selecting a course is you can either create a course through the Garmin Connect app or Garmin on the web, or you can actually pick one of the courses that somebody else has created and made public in terms of Garmin Connect. Now, once the internet fires up here, we'll see a number of these pop up, and you can click on any one of these. It's going to give you the total distance towards the bottom of the screen and the ascent and the descent. Now that is very important, because when you go into one of these plans and you set up a course, you will see that Garmin tries to make adjustments for any ups and downs in terms of running hills a little bit slower and a little bit faster if you're going on the downhills. But let's go into select a race distance. From here, you can pick any race distance you'd like, or you can click on other by any race distance, 5K, 10K, half marathon, or marathon. If we click on other, you will be given the option of whether you want that in kilometers or miles and how many kilometers you want that to be. Once you hit done and hit next, now it's asking you for a goal time or a goal pace. You can pick either one of those whatsoever that you would like. I'm going to go, just because it's how fast I plan on running my marathon in, is 6 minutes per kilometer. And you'll see it'll adjust the time up there just based on the pace and the distance that we've already picked. Once you're into this screen, you will see a couple of different things that you can change. The name across the top, the total distance that you want to run, you can adjust that at any time. The goal time, you can adjust at any time. The pace, you can adjust at any time. And the splits, whether you want them in kilometers or miles. Also, down here, what's an interesting trick that you will see up its sleeve in terms of Pace Pro is that you are able to positive or negative split here, and you're allowed to set that as aggressively as you want. Oh, and the other thing I want to mention here is that towards the bottom of this, if you want to edit the split times, you can edit any individual split time, but just make sure when you go in and edit any one of these splits that, and Garmin will probably give me a warning here when I try to edit that first one, you'll see 9:32. When I try to back out of that, it tells me new goal time, new goal pace. One thing Garmin does is when you go in and edit any one of those individual splits at the bottom of the screen, regardless of whether you're just doing this distance or you're doing an actual course, it doesn't attempt to adjust the other ones to make up for that time. It simply just adds or subtracts based on whether you've added or subtracted that split. Once we hit save, going to come back here and you will see up at the top of your screen, I have untitled 13 kilometers, 1 hour, 16 minutes, 41 seconds at a 5:54 pace. And you'll hit on that blue phone over on the right side of that with the arrow. Once we click on that towards the top, it's going to say connected, anything you send, click on your device. Pace Pro plan will be available when your Forerunner music is synced back to your phone. Make sure you do that, and then sync your watch to the plan, or else you're not going to get that plan. Okay, so let's look at what you actually see on the watch. If we click on the start, you can click on a run, and it's going to give you your suggested daily if you have that set up. Go past that, and then scroll up, and you will see the Pace Pro plans at the top. You're going to click on that. Then any Pace Pro plans that you have loaded to the watch will come up. We'll just pick the first one here, and we'll click on the check mark on the next screen just to get us towards the Pace Pro plan screen. Goes green at the top like we're familiar with when GPS is all set. And once you're ready to go, you just have to hit the start button. Now from here, you will see a couple of different things. This top number that we're seeing, that 542, that's the projected, or that's the split pace that I asked for in the Pace Pro strategy in terms of that particular split that I'm on. Just below that, in those check marks, don't know if that's going to kick in here for us where I'm not moving, but that is the current split pace that you're on while you're running. That will address continuously. That's more of a rolling pace. Just below that is a little bit of a meter to see how close you are to the next split. That says 1.61. That would be 1 mile. 1.61 is the kilometers, so that's the difference between the two. And below that, the overall behind. Now we're seeing that slowly click up because I am not moving, so that will be behind by a second every second that clicks by. But that's basically what you see on your screen. Now the one thing I did want to mention was what I had earlier, which was if you scroll down, if you actually go through, your other screens are still there. So if you have other screens that you're used to, whether that be, I've got my finger on the heart rate switch showing up, but whether that be distance, time, or heart rate, whether that be heart rate, lap pace, last lap pace, and total distance, heart rate, whatever you happen to have set up is still going to exist. So if Pace Pro's either wigging out, or you're not really liking it, or you just have other information you want to see that's not included in this, you can scroll down and go through that. So there you have it. That's basically how the Pace Pro works. Not too complicated, but good information to have on your screen. I think it's very useful, giving you your current split, your next split, and definitely the overall behind or ahead, just to keep you on track as you go through your marathon. Of course, you can also set up other things here. I will also have set up just reminders for myself that are going to pop up every time I hit that half-hour mark and I need a little bit more nutrition, but that's outside of the Pace Pro strategies. That's how I plan on using Pace Pro for my marathon. All right, so that is it. Yes, I do plan on using the Garmin Pace Pro strategies for my first ever marathon I've got coming up in a couple of weeks. It is bizarre for me to think that I am so close to running this thing. If you did like this video and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. Check out some of my other videos. I think I've got some really solid content out there that you're gonna like, and hopefully going forward I'm able to share with you more and more. Every time I get new subscribers, it gives me more motivation to do more of these videos and just push a little bit harder to be the best that I can be for the most important thing in my life, which is my family. I have to throw that somewhere into pretty well every video. The one thing I will say about Pace Pro strategies is that ultimately that is just part of it. You still have to be able to run the race, and I know I have the fitness level to run the 6 minutes per kilometer pace for this marathon. Probably even a little bit better than that if I'm being honest with you, but I want to get this first one. Whatever I run, it's going to be a PR. So I want to get this first one. I really want to enjoy it, and I want to push myself, and I want to train myself to be able to get past that wall, past that pain cave, push myself to the end of this marathon and finish strong. Anyways, my name is Matt, and this is What Matters to Matt. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.